Despite having the most accessible technological revolution in human history at our fingertips, most people aren't grabbing hold. Let me say that again. One of the most powerful technologies ever created is freely available to almost everyone, but only 1 in 10 people are using generative AI daily. What we're seeing right now is a rapid rise in AI advancements, but slow growth in AI adoption rates. The funny thing is, when I first started training people on how to use AI, I thought the biggest challenge would be the technology, but I was totally wrong. The biggest challenge doesn't lie in the technology at all. It lies in us. It's how we think about AI, how we approach it, but more importantly, how we adapt to it. But here's what worries me. Unless we figure out how to make AI accessible for everyone, not just the tech enthusiasts, we'll end up creating a new kind of digital divide, where opportunities aren't just divided by our education or our experience, but also by our ability to partner with these new tools and consider new ways of working. Today, I'm going to share with you what I've learned about why this gap exists, and more importantly, how we can bridge it for everyone, regardless of your background and experience. So what's causing this gap between AI advancements and AI adoption rates? Well, having trained hundreds, if not over 1,000 individuals over the past year, I've noticed a few clear influences. It seems that the more experienced you are, the less likely you are to use AI. I mean, last month I trained a team of very senior professionals, and a few of them raised their hands and said, Minisha, I've gotten this far without using AI. I don't really see the value in having to learn all of this new stuff. Now, I hear that quite often. Now, you might be thinking, that sort of makes sense, right? The more experienced you are, the more set in your ways and more resistant to change you are. And that might be true. But here's the picture on the flip side. I've noticed that less experienced individuals that I train on AI tend to use and see AI tools as a way to level up. They'll use it to explain code, draft proposals, and even role-play tough conversations with them, essentially guiding them as a mentor to deliver to a higher standard. The second thing I noticed influencing AI adoption seems to be the role, the profession itself. You see, generative AI is great at generating language and code-based output. So naturally, roles such as sales, marketing, software development have been seen to adopt AI a lot faster than other professions. But roles where it's more physical or manual in nature, there seems to be less adoption, less obvious, less immediate use cases there. But here's what's really interesting. The biggest barrier to AI adoption isn't really about role or experience at all. It's something far more simple, and that's our mindset towards AI. When I run AI training sessions, I often start by asking participants what their initial thoughts are on AI. You'd be surprised by how many people sit there with their arms crossed, with skepticism painted across their faces, and just totally not convinced. And I'm usually always confused by this. I mean, haven't every single one of us lived through multiple technological shifts in our generation? I mean, come on, we've seen the internet, we've seen Wi-Fi, we've seen mobile phones come into existence in the span of just 3 generations. Now, be honest with me. Could you imagine going back to a time where you didn't have your iPhone? Or would you go back to a time where you had to write a letter or knock on someone's door to hang out with them? Or perhaps carry a book of maps every time you went somewhere new? Probably not, because actually these technologies have made our standard of living better. They've saved us time. They've opened up new ways for us to spend our time. And importantly, they've opened up new markets and opportunities for us. Like many technological shifts in history, we have to change our perspective. And the perspective that we need to change in the case of AI is this. We need to stop defining ourselves solely by the tasks that we perform and how many hours invested into them. and instead see AI as an opportunity for us to save our time and enhance what we already do. But I've noticed something else that holds people back from truly adopting this mindset. And it seems to be the word intelligence within artificial intelligence itself. You see, it sort of sets us up for failure because we immediately equate it to our own intelligence. But perhaps we need to consider that there are different forms of intelligence. Let me explain. AI is not an original thinker. It doesn't dream, it doesn't experience moments of inspiration, and it doesn't have our 5 senses, which help us experience the world in our own way. Those are our superpowers as intelligent beings. But here's what AI has that we don't. It's a pattern matching powerhouse. It's capable of processing huge amounts of data to generate very human-like output. For example, a human can learn maybe a handful of degrees in a lifetime to a good standard, whereas AI can learn a whole library of degrees and retain that information at all times. Now, the skills that we already have, our creativity, our critical thinking, our ability to connect the dots, they're not going anywhere. But they do need to be synergized with AI's capabilities. We ultimately have to ask ourselves, how can I partner with AI to transform the way that I operate instead of fearing that it will replace me? So how do we do that? Well, in my work and in my experience training, I've noticed that there are 4 distinct steps to truly adopting AI. And I call them the 4 C's of generative AI adoption. And they stand for context, capabilities, communication, and challenge. The first step in our framework is context. Now, this is about understanding how AI fits into our own world. And let me show you why this is important. A single tool can be used in 1,000 different ways. A marketing manager can use ChatGPT for content creation. A sales manager can use ChatGPT to do client research. A teacher can use ChatGPT to personalize lesson plans. Now, it's the same AI tool, but completely different applications. So the first question we must look to answer is, what do I do? And how can AI help me? And this is how you can start. I want you to take a moment. Think about your own workflows. Which tasks do you perform on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Which activities consume most of your time? Or where do you wish you had an extra pair of hands or expertise? Now, a simple way for you to figure this out is to honestly start making a list of all the things that you do in your day-to-day work. And once you have that list, categorize them based on low-value activities and high-value activities. What you'll quickly come to realize is that you probably spend a lot of your time on admin, low-value activities, things that distract you, slow you down, or take you away even from the parts of your work that you really enjoy. Now, these tasks are going to be a great place for you to start testing how to use AI. The whole point here is to start seeing how AI can fit into your workflows, your context. But to make this transformation work, we need to understand how our needs, that list that we've created, connects to AI's current capabilities, which, by the way, is evolving every single day. Which leads me on to my next C, capabilities. Now, being aware of capabilities is where most people go wrong. You see, there's 2 ends of the spectrum here. Those that hear the word AI and believe it can do anything and everything, and those that hear the word AI and severely underestimate what it can do. And right now, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. People are usually amazed when I show them that AI can do more than just help you respond to that email or summarize some text. I mean, you can get it to now generate graphs, analyze data, generate images. You can conversate with it. You can even get it to perform tasks on your behalf at scale. But it can't do everything. I mean, can AI help a HR manager create job descriptions faster? Yes. Can AI replace that HR manager in making nuanced hiring decisions? Probably not yet. Understanding these strengths and limitations is crucial because it sets you up for success. Once you understand what AI can and cannot do, you know which problems you have a solution for. And by the way, that solution doesn't need to be just ChatGPT. There's hundreds of other options out there. So remember that list that you created of all your tasks and activities. Well, this is where it becomes powerful. Your next step is to match each one of those tasks to different AI capabilities. Now, this is what's really going to help you go beyond just the basics and start exploring the actual options and solutions out there. But as we all know, having the solution is one thing. How do we actually translate that into meaningful results? Well, that's where the next C, communication, comes in. Hands up if you can tell when something's written by ChatGPT. Okay, so that's about 99% of you. The biggest assumption that people have, and misconception that people have, is that they think AI is like a mind reader. It should know everything that you do, and therefore the results should be exactly how you imagined. Now, the thing with generative AI is that your output is determined somewhat by your input. And so as the saying goes, garbage in equals garbage out. To achieve great results, we need great instructions. And naturally, people struggle with this. Why? Because we are so used to working on autopilot. I mean, imagine delegating a task to ChatGPT, something that you've done for years, and you give it a one-sentence instruction. The results are likely going to be generic, useless content. But once we go back and refine that instruction to include, say, your industry expertise, context about the project, your desired outcomes, the difference would be like day and night. And this is precisely why we need to see ourselves stepping up and essentially becoming managers of AI. I mean, communicating what you want ChatGPT to do or create should be like delegating a task to a new team member that's never worked before. Again, it's a mindset shift. AI will never have the context that we do. Therefore, what information can we provide it such that the results are reflective of the world around us? The final step in the framework is challenge. Challenging yourself to start, to test, to experiment. The beauty behind this technology is that there are very, very low barriers to entry. There is thousands of free AI tools out there, and there's even more free resources for you to learn from. If you have access to the internet, there's absolutely no excuse to feel left behind. Now, I've seen people take this journey so many times and become AI champions amongst their friends and colleagues. And their journey typically looks something like this. I'm going to use my friend Jimmy here as an example. Now, Jimmy works in sales at a bank. He was super resistant to AI at first, thinking it's a gimmick, it's hype, but eventually he gave it a go. He started using Gen AI in his day-to-day work to help him respond to that email, to help him summarize that report, and he was fairly impressed. But one day he saw something new. It was a new feature. He could use this feature to help him analyze complex data and generate graphs. Now, Jimmy hated using Excel, so this feature absolutely blew his mind. He began telling everyone around him, and he even hosted a small workshop with his team to show them how to use it too. Now, amazed by this, Jimmy got thinking about all the possibilities and became curious. What else is out there that I don't know about? He began researching, came across all sorts of AI tools. With zero coding experience, Jimmy is now experimenting with building out a business idea that he's had for years, something that he would have had to pay someone else thousands to get up and running. But thanks to the AI tools available and the technology available, he's able to do it himself. Had Jimmy not challenged himself to consider a new way of working with a different set of tools, he would have stayed blind to all of the opportunities out there. And this framework will help you evolve and adapt even as the technology gets better. Challenging yourself to start and evolve is key to surviving in this new age of AI-enabled work. Every single time you postpone learning about AI, someone else is gaining a competitive advantage. But more importantly, they're gaining the opportunity to shape how this technology will be used in our future. The door to the most accessible technological revolution in human history is wide open. Now the only question is, will you walk through it? Thank you, everyone.